Welcome to TLC for the Soul podcast, where soul meets spirit. You have entered into sacred space. I'm your host, TAMI Chambers, and I'm here to help you shine. Now let's get going on this podcast journey. Hello, friends. Hello. And welcome to Bringers of the Light Sunday. Welcome, welcome, welcome in. I've got a little different spot today, hanging out with my colorful blanket. We're as close to outside as we're going to get today. It's actually not that bad. It's really super foggy, but I think I read that it's like the temperature's like 20 or 25 degrees above average. It's supposed to be almost 60 degrees today, which is perfectly fine with me. Is my camera a little crooked? I don't know. I feel like it might be a little bit like that. But anyway, welcome in, whether you're new, whether you've been here for a while, as we're in our 7th year now of TLC for the Soul on all major podcast providers and on YouTube. Welcome in, Bringers of the Light, as I wrap us all in love light and light love, inviting in the guides who overlight TLC for the Soul, Archangel Michael, Archangel Metatron, the Pleiadians, and a host of TLC for the Soul guides and Bringers of the Light Sunday. This is where we talk about the week ahead using the book that we're writing together, our channeled chapter of this time we're working on Flying Potion. So if you're new here, settle in. Everything I talk about, links to everything I talk about are all in the show notes. And we are working on this. We've been working on this book together for a little bit now. Today we're going to synchronistically or whatever, we ended up on chapter 11 for today. And the guides have more that they want me to share about the 1111 portal, which is tomorrow, regardless of when you listen to this. So I'm going to because I I channeled chapter 11 this morning, and there was a lot about soulmates in it. So don't, go off if you're not on the soulmate journey, because I think there's messages for everybody here the week ahead, even if your soulmate is your own inner self, okay? So we'll leave it at that. But for those of you that are on a soulmate journey, the 1111 has also always been about soulmates coming together, and you can put whatever label you want on that, romantic partner, twin flame, divine counterpart. Soulmate doesn't have to be romantic, but it seems to all be settled around two people coming together in some sort of divine partnership who have a joint soul mission. Why don't we just put it like that? Because it doesn't always have to be, like I said, romance. But I was guided to bring in the twin flame Lemurian today. When I bought this, I didn't know it was a twin flame Lemurian, but it's got an angel aura quartz around it. So we've got that. We're gonna light this little autumnal. Should I still say autumnal? It's really early winter. So please to acknowledge that. They're it's happening whether you want it to or not. I'm gonna light this little candle because it smells really good. It's some sort of pumpkin-y candle. We are in November, the month of, I don't know if you're in the U.S. There's other countries celebrated at different times, but this is Thanksgiving month. It's a lot to be thankful for. And, I don't know what more to say about that. Okay, got my little pumpkin spice harvest tea. Oh, the dog is wrapped up. Did she come? She might have come over here to the window. She's wrapped up in a blanket. I do have the window cracked a little bit. That foggy air is kind of coming through. Because I was like, I don't want to have to wear wool leggings today. I want to wear just a regular, I'm going to wear my skirt and my knee-high or over-the-knee socks. And I'm just going to work like that. Okay, so let's see where they want me to start today. Okay, so they want me to start with the chapter because they're saying that even though the chapter seems short and kind of there's a lot to cover with the chapter. So where's my tablet? So if you missed it yesterday, I did upload the November energies and healing activations video, and they wanted me to go into a little bit of the 11:11 in that, but I feel like I just barely touched the surface, and maybe that's because we were going to talk about it more today. We did spend a little bit more time talking about what happens, when Pluto finally gets out of Capricorn, and the very heavy energies that have been around last week and could continue on into the full moon. So we're not going to sugarcoat it. Today, the day that I'm recording this, the 10th, which is Sunday morning, it's very calm and serene and peaceful. But I feel like I may need to do something more around this full moon. It's very important. It's at the 24 degrees of Taurus, but there's a lot of other aspects to this full moon that are important and play into the whole journey of the Pluto and Capricorn thing as well. So maybe midweek, we might come in and talk about that more. But for now, we're going to go into Flying Potion. I honestly cannot recall what we did. Oh, when we last did Flying Potion, was it last week? It may have been last week. Let me just pull up this here. Recent uploads. Yeah, Bringers of the Light Sunday. Yeah, we did. We did have a show last week. And we talked about more about the Samhain kind of stuff. Rory and Sunny going to the haunted house and going through the corn maze and all that. And then I brought in a chapter midweek that you haven't heard yet, and I did not post an audiobook update yet for Flying Potion, but I will here. I got one more chapter. I think I like to post like 2 or 3 chapters at a time. So I didn't do that yet. So Flying Potion is in audiobook format on YouTube, on the podcast. Yeah, we went through chapter 9 3/4. So I've got, so that is out there if you want to get caught up on the story. If you're new here and you're like, what the heck is this Flying Potion? I write these books, they're channeled, all done via automatic writing. I don't plan them out or anything like that because they're brought in with healing intentions and metaphors and things. And so the guides help me bring the stories in for us. So you can choose to interact with this as just a fun story, or you can go deeper, like I like to say, and we've been saying this for so many years now, like I like to say, when I used to sit out in New Braunfels by the oh gosh, in the field, and I used to do the podcast on Sunday mornings out there, way back in 2019, even 2018, 2019. So listen with your master senses, so you can call in your guides to help you tease out any additional metaphors. Any healing. I always invite the healing guides into these shows, and whether you're visually looking at me or whether you're listening on the podcast. So if there's any chakra cleansing or any healing that needs to be done to brighten up your energy, to help motivate you, those guides are here as well. I do hear that Archangel Ariel and the Prosperity Angels are here too. So they're saying there's a lot to look forward to that we can't see right now. That right now things seem, like, it's the end of the year. I think this is Parrot Guidance. This has come up before, like, it's the end of the year, and it's going to be, November, December, the year's almost over, and what did I get out of that year other than a lot of, more work that I had to do, more spiritual work that I did. And they're saying, and this does come out, I think, in the channeling too about I'm getting big chills about holding on a little bit longer and choosing to see this from another perspective. And I did say, I think maybe it even was last Sunday, like in the Wheel of the Year and like the Pagan Wheel of the Year, whatever you want to call it, the Samhain, technically, the Halloween day is technically considered like the witch's new year. And from the perspective of the agricultural calendar, it's kind of like the beginning of the year rather than the end of it's like an ending and a beginning. So, use whatever floats your boat, right? If it makes you happier, like right now, it makes me happier to think about I'm in a new year, a new Wheel of the Year versus I'm at the end of a year and I feel like I I did accomplish stuff, but it was very spiritually, it was a lot of spiritual growth and not a lot of outward growth, and not a lot that I saw for it happening in the 3D. And so maybe you're there too. Maybe you're like, well, yeah, like we cleared all our karma. Like was it July 4th on Freedom Day here in the US, and the guides came back and told many of us that we had intentionally intended to clear all our negative karma, and that, July 4th, we were rewarded with, I guess, early release from continuing to work on clearing any of that negative karma from the past. And that was done. And then we moved into like this preparation phase. And the reason I say that is, and I'm not the only one saying this, that we're right before something big changes, and when you're about to go get some great rewards in the 3D, your root chakra expands exponentially, like 3, 4, 5 times its normal size. And we're coming back to this again because I have, since July 4th, been watching root chakras, myself and others that I kind of like scan them periodically. Root chakras grow and have not, so the root chakra will continue to expand up to, 5, 6, 7, whatever times its normal size, right when you're getting ready to have a big manifestation, a huge, like we're talking about life-changing manifestations, not, smaller stuff. And our root chakras have been sitting like this in this position of being overly expanded since that beginning of July. And I asked the guides, I'm like, how long is this going to go on for? How long are we going to sit here like in this ready to be ready moment? Because my root chakra now expands like beyond the house. And I'm like, well, what does this mean? And so they're saying it's like, they just keep saying, just hold on just a little bit longer. So it does come out in the channeling. So I'm going to go ahead and read this now. The chapter that you didn't get to hear that I brought in the middle of the week last week was all the Halloween stuff was going on in Rockaway Point, and then an emergency broadcast came out over their emergency broadcast system in Rockaway Point, and a whale had beached itself in Seafarers Cove. And Polly, we were kind of following Polly and Scratchy through this particular part of the story, because Polly was in charge of, when something like this happened, apparently beached seafaring creatures have happened before in Rockaway Point. And so Polly's the one in charge of like bringing her medicine bag full of all her crystals and potions and healing hands and all that, and helping keep the whale calm while other people in the town work to help get the whale back into the water. So that's what happened. That's what you haven't heard yet, is Polly is, she brought home a good dinner. She'd been reading cards at the Halloween night festivities at the haunted house, and an emergency broadcast came out over the radio. She heard it, and now she's on her way to Seafarers Cove to see what's going on with this beached whale, and that's where we're going to drop in. And so this is where I say, like, listen, well, you can listen to this whole show with your master senses, but we're going to read the chapter, and then I'll go in and talk about, the guides will help me point out what the metaphors are for the week ahead. This week ahead, pretty powerful and pivotal. The 11/11 portal is tomorrow on Monday. That's a bank holiday. That's like a Veterans Day here in the US, maybe somewhere else, I don't know. And then at the end of the week, we have the full moon on the 15th, which is Friday. But as of tomorrow, even right now, they're saying you're already going to start feeling the aspects of this full moon start coming in, because it is so powerful. Oh, this is interesting. So it's on my calendar, and I subscribe to a calendar, like a Moon Astro calendar that downloads to my tablet calendar, to my Apple calendar. And it says full moon. And when I tapped on it, sometimes it'll say like what kind of moon it is, like beaver moon or buck moon or whatever. And this one says Kartik Purnima 2024. Kartik Purnima, a revered festival in Hinduism, is celebrated on the full moon day of the Hindu month of Kartik. This festival holds great significance as it commemorates Lord Shiva's triumph over the demon I'm going to trip all over this. His name is Tripurasura, and is also associated with Lord Krishna's defeat of the demon Narakasura. The festival is not only important for its religious connotations, but for its astronomical aspects. On Kartik Purnima, the moon is exceptionally bright and nearest to the earth, a supermoon, creating an ideal setting for worship and meditation. This auspicious day symbolizes the victory of good over evil and provides an opportunity to admire the moon's splendor and ponder its spiritual importance. I think that's very significant. And gosh, I don't know why it's making me feel emotional. Maybe it is because I saw somebody's astrology update about this moon, and it was like making it seem like it was this dire moon coming in. And when I pulled cards myself, so like I say, let's have discernment about who we're listening to sometimes as well. This is someone I always listen to, but when I heard that, I was like, again, another moon that's like all bleh. And then for me, like this full moon is in Taurus, which is supposed to be a very beneficial sign for the moon to come into. It's also when we have the full moon in Taurus back in, like, I forget if it's May. I think it's April or May. That's like one of the most beneficial full moons of the year. The Wesak festival happens at that time. And so to have another full moon in Taurus, I saw it as being beneficial, not detrimental. So, for our collective, I pulled cards last night. When I heard that reading, I was like, this made me feel like blah. But when I pulled cards for us, I got a totally different story. I did get a lot of cups energy, like a lot of emotions. But the cup, I got 2 cups cards, and they were both about joy and abundance, and they were not what I would consider detrimental cards coming out of the Vision Quest Tarot. So, I don't know. I think this is a good thing. I think this is a good moon. For me, my North Node is in Taurus, my South Node is in Scorpio, and this moon is aspecting both of those areas. Now, there may be other sniggling things coming in with the whole Pluto just almost out of Capricorn a few days later. But I think now seeing this, the guys are talking about, and I did have Lakshmi come in this morning too, and I work with Goddess Lakshmi a lot, and she's helped me with some very powerful manifestations, but she's not always in my field. And this morning she dropped in to my invocations, and I was like, wonder why she's here. And now that I see a Hindu festival coming up on the sign of the full moon, and it's all about triumph over demons and devils, devil energy, evil, good over evil, and symbolizing the victory of good over evil, that helps me feel like it's more auspicious than not. And so I want to hang on to those energies rather than the other ones that are talking about, the other side of things. Because they're saying everyone is going to experience these energies differently. And we have to take what resonates with each one of us. But we also can't go into doomsday thinking either. Okay. So let's get to our chapter then. So that makes me feel really good that I'm like, it's not all towers coming down, because that's kind of what I heard in the other messages that I was listening to. I was like, I don't want more towers coming. Not at the moment. Not quite yet. Not those kind. All right. So we're going to drop into Flying Potion. Let me get my breathing voice on. Get another drink of my little stuff here. What is that? Oh. My crystal wants to be closer. It's saying hold me. Okay, I got this twin flame lemurian I'm going to put in my lap. A whale beaches at Seafarer's Cove. Polly wrapped up her readings and moved the table, chair, and salt lamp. Oh, interesting. I will buy a salt lamp today. Back inside the chai house. It was time to head home and hang out with Scratchy over a late dinner. Is this the one I want to read? Oh, wait. No, sorry. Why do I have 2 chapter 11s? Uh-oh, hold on. Oh, weird. 11:11. Oh my God, I wish you guys could see this. chapter 10, chapter 11, a whale beaches. So maybe it's all part of the same chapter. Chapter 11, a whale beaches at Seafarer's Cove. And then when I channeled in this morning, somehow I typed in chapter 11 again, how to calm a beached whale. I'm going to leave it like that. I'm going to call it like 11 and a half or something. 11. I'm going to leave it 11, 11. All right. So we're on to how to calm a beached whale. Goodness me. Come on. Polly bundled up against the fog that had gathered around the harbor as she walked swiftly from her cottage to Seafarer's Cove. So already the synchronicity is about 11:11. In her medicine bag were all sorts of crystals, herbs, potions, wands, and her book of magic. The whale would not likely need access to all these methods of healing if it was to survive this incident. This wasn't the first time this had happened here, and Polly was beginning to think that there were other matters off the shores of Rockaway Point that were forcing these sea creatures ashore. She mentally noted to bring this up at the next Spectre and Book Coven meeting, recalling that it was her turn to host the gathering. She reached the cove and noticed many of the town's citizens were already in motion to steady the whale. Miranda from the Chai House and her friend Abby were using long hoses to keep the whale moist. Mr. Hardaway had brought his old radio and was playing the rugby game on it while simultaneously using his flute to play a soothing song. When Polly got closer, she could sense the whale was pretty calm, although worried about another animal it had become separated from. Not a baby, but a mate. The whale told Polly with its mind that it had become confused by a sort of siren song coming from somewhere out past the breakers. The song had been so beguiling, and the whale and her mate had wanted to follow it. But the mate had gotten taken off course by the scent of a great lot of krill, and this whale had simply floated along to the sound of the siren song, coming into contact with some errant lines left in the water by the fishing boats. This led to that, and so on, until it told Polly it had come ashore and was too caught up in these lines to break free. Several of the townsfolk had taken to carefully cutting the lines away from the whale, while Polly started her magic to calm the whale and keep it company. It didn't seem too distressed, only longing to get back to its mate and off this sandy beach. Everyone around was doing their job. Larimar and Billy Tavish had set up a table and were making hot tea for everyone. And Clark Witherspoon had been standing by in case anyone needed advice about whales, was told by the mayor that this would all end very soon. The truck they always used with the wenches was standing by, and it would take that and all the townspeople pushing and shoving to assist the whale back into the water. Albie Chalmers had been in town for a dinner with friends and had started to help others dig a trench in the sand as a little sort of launch they could use to more easily move the whale off the sand and into the water. Offshore, a huge splash was heard as the whale told Polly that her mate was close by. She wanted to get back on track with him as soon as she could. Polly assured her the process was nearly there and to hold out just a bit longer. The whale sighed and tried to relax as everyone bustled about, doing their jobs to free this giant friend. Okay, so what else do you guys want to say about? There's a lot about soulmates and separation here. A lot, specifically too, because, well, this is chapter 11, part 2, I guess, but the chapter 11 itself, when I wrote it, I can only write so much in a Google Keep note before you have to like transfer it to like a Google Doc. And so it ends and then I have to create another note. And so this chapter is separated in half, one of it in part 2 and one of it in part 3. But we've got Polly, who I think they're saying you could see as your higher self. And she's got all of your sacred tools, your crystals, your herbs, your potions, your wands, your book of magic or shadow, whatever you call it. The whale, I see the whale as like your 3D self. The whale would likely need access to all these methods of healing if it was to survive this incident. And I do like, I see all these townspeople showing up at this Seafarers Cove. So this beach whale, I feel like, has been this whole process. Even though in the book it takes place over a couple of chapters, I feel like it's this whole process of like you getting either you could see this in one of two ways: you getting separated from your higher self, like a process of inner union, and this whale mate out in the water as like this other part of you, this higher version of yourself that you're trying to get back to, because whales are very ascended master type creatures. And I feel like, you know, part of you got separated from yourself is one way to see this, and you've been beached, you know, trying to learn and get help. All these townspeople coming in and all this stuff coming in, I see it as like your guides and your angels and your, you know, your soul self and all that, trying to help you through this whole process. And remember when I said, I keep saying, like, when I hear trust the process, our guides tell us trust the process, I'll always be like, what is the process? I don't understand all the things that are happening. I want to know energetically what's going on. Even with this whole, like, the root chakra expanding way out, you know, exponentially out, like, what is it doing? Why is it like that? And can it just stay like that forever? And they're saying, no, at some point you will manifest and it will come back down to its default size. But, you know, everybody in town is coming in to help this whale. And I like it says Polly got close as she could sense that it was pretty calm, although it was worried about another animal it had become separated from. So if this other whale out there, so if you on the beach are one whale and you really are feeling separated from another soul, like a soulmate, be that romance or, you know, somebody else. Like I told you, I see my son as a soulmate. He's not a romantic partner, but he is like a divine soul partnership in my life. You know, who are these mates that maybe you might feel separated from? Because I feel like this 1111 is they're saying like a jumping off point to a higher version of two souls coming into, we're channeling now, coming into union with their higher selves. And then thus that process is complete, and those two souls are now ready to come back together again. The siren song in this case was you, like divine intervention, purposely separating you from another soul so that you could do your soul work, they could do their soul work, and then you could come back together again. Yeah, this whole siren song is big, and I think that's the song of like your soul saying, you know, come on, let's ascend, let's go higher. And I feel like I've been like in soul work and a consciousness level for a little bit now, kind of at the same consciousness level. And in my meditation yesterday, my higher self said, I'm ready to go high. They didn't say like you are. I just heard my higher self say, I'm ready to go higher. And it's been coming out in the cards, the consciousness expansion. Based on all the work we've been doing, we are now leveling up yet again to a higher state of consciousness. And when you do that, then that's when you come into more of who you truly are. And that then aligns you more to anybody else that may be doing the same thing, where there's like this destined type of soul partnership. And you couldn't quite get there until you both got to a certain level of consciousness, of alignment within yourself, and of inner union. And all these lines and things that they talk about cutting away from the whale are all about, you know, all the work you had to do to cut cords to the past and clear ancestral karma, all the work you've done, whatever that is. I do have divine counterparts coming in here. Larimar and Billy Tavish from the Chai House do not come in very often to these, you know, channelings, but when they do, I have a book all about their fated, destined meeting called Chaga and Chai. That's out there. All my ebooks are free to read. Apple Books, Google Books, Barnes and Nobles, and the link to my Smashwords publisher, but you need an EPUB reader on your device to download those and read them. Some sort of, like Kindle or something like that. They don't show up very often. And when they do, it's always about fated, that's what their whole story was about. Two divine counterparts who were on thousands of miles away from each other, and just kept getting these signs about, this person that they kept like seeing and feeling and sensing in their reality. And they would sometimes astral project to the person and be like, then the person would see them in their periphery. And it was a whole story about their destined, synchronistic, serendipitous, fated meeting. So when they come in and they're here helping this whale, to me, that means we're very close to reaching this goal, whatever that means to you. And then Albie Chalmers doesn't come in a lot, but he has been here in this story quite a bit. And the last time we met Albie Chalmers was in the Argyle land. That is a story. It was written all in the December time, maybe in 2019, I think. But it was all about Albie and Maggie Chalmers, who were a couple who were married and probably should not have been together. So if there's any karmic, I'm going to just call them karmic partnerships that you've been working to clear out of your life coming to an end. We did have confirmation a few chapters back that Albie had finally divorced Maggie in a witches' council ceremony and moved on to new friends now. So that is just extra confirmation for those of you that are wanting to end and are now going to be, it's not just you wanting to end these types of partnerships. It's that if you've done the soul work you need to clear these karmic partnerships out of your life, then you're allowed to let them go. And the guides come in and end. It's almost like it's fated to end at a certain time, and you kind of made it to that time. You've done all the work you need to do, and now you're going to be allowed to release those relationships, further away out of your life. That could mean different things to whoever's listening, depending on what that relationship is. If it's a marriage that's ending, then that would be obviously like divorce and moving away further, getting further away from that. If it's something else, like maybe it's this parent-child type thing, or siblings, or friendships, or business partnerships, you'll be allowed to, you've done that work, and you'll be allowed to distance yourself and kind of cut the ties to that relationship and move on to something that's more in line with who you are now. So how does the 1111 play into this? I just want to get a couple of cards for this in the week ahead, because we start off the week with the 1111 and we kind of end the week with what I'm going to see as this very serendipitous healing and big super moon about deities who overcame immense obstacles to free themselves from inner and outer demons. So let's see cards, and let me see if I can see. Oh, I can't see it so far away. We're getting up on there, so let me I don't like these to be too long. We've got two cards from the Modern Love Tarot. Yes, and these keep coming out together. The Nine of Swords coming out with the Ten of Pentacles. These just have, multiple times I've gotten these, and it's not like they're stuck together, but they seem to be coming out. The Nine of Swords is all about worries, concerns. And this one, it's like a love letter or something, and it's being burned, like the pages are going up in flames, and there's this picture of this like physical heart with this Nine of Swords. But then in juxtaposition to that, there's this Ten of Pentacles with this very happy family scene. We've got the little tree swing out in the backyard, the family around the table with like grandpa and the grandkids and the husband and wife and the good looking dinner and the bottle of wine and all the pentacles, the house looks very stable and firm and all that. I don't know if you're listening, you can't see this, and I'm trying my best to get close to the camera to show you, but I think that it's saying, you know, what's done is done. These things are in the past. Whatever these swords are for you, these 9 of swords are for you. This is always a card about I'm up at night worrying. It did say in the channeling that that the one whale was worried about the other whale that it had gotten separated from. Whatever your worries, concerns are, they're saying that they're going to take a back seat now to this new higher vibe timeline that's becoming available to you. Yes, that's the chills. So it's a higher vibe timeline that's initiated. It's a jumping forward point at the 11:11, and then it is amplified by the Taurus supermoon. And then it's this series of steps. And then as Pluto leaves Capricorn and we move out of that energy towards the end of November, they're saying you will be in a whole new reality that matches where you're meant to be going forward from. So I would choose to see this week as that. I think that's these 2 cards as well this week ahead. It's like, let's not worry about what we're hearing about anything about the future. Let's choose to focus on the positive, continue to stay strong in what you want to manifest, call in your guides to help you with those manifestations. And my guides keep telling me, and I keep getting these chills now, that it's time to ask for a boon again. Yes. Oh my God, I'm getting so many chills. I'm going to get emotional. The last time, oh my gosh, hold on. The last time we asked for a boon, we made a packet, and you can look this up. A boon is like asking for a favor from the gods, from the universe. The last time we asked for a boon, we made this packet together. You have to make we made like a despacho. I don't know why I'm getting emotional about this. We made a despacho, and we set it down the Guadalupe River in New Braunfels. And I didn't even know what I was asking for at that time. I was like, please, just give me something. Give me something good. And my guides came along, and I don't remember the length of time that elapsed between asking for the boon and for it coming in. They're saying it was a matter of months. I think it was like August. We did that like around the Lion's Gate, and I filmed a whole video about that. And then it was just like 4 or 5 months later, I got my house here, which was a huge, huge upgrade, even though I was like, North Dakota, what? But I understood why I was coming here. This was not my choice. This was my guide's choice for me at the time to come here. This is not what I'm manifesting for myself in my future. But it was a huge stepping stone for me to be allowed to be a guardian of this property in this sacred space and sacred place. And for a week or so now, I've been feeling like it's time to ask for another boon. And when I get big chills like that, it is. And so I think maybe we could do that together like we did before and set it down the river here. Maybe this is a totally different river. It runs kind of weird, but we're going to decide how we want to do that. But it's time to ask for another boon, another blessing from the universe and from our guides. So when they tell me that means it's something really, really big. And I guess I'm getting emotional because I feel like we waited so long for this. That it's like, gosh darn it, we've been doing a friggin' ton of work. And it's like, I think we need something. We need something big. We need something big to shift. So, all right. So we're going to end this here. Whew. All right. That's enough of that for now. Move that out. But we need something big to shift. So I think the next video we'll do is maybe preparing this despacho for this boon, and then you can kind of do it along with me, and we can release it and see what comes, we'll see what's going to come of that. So let me check in as I'm continuing to hold this twin flame Lemurian. Okay, my guides are saying they're complete. I'm complete. And so I'm going to go ahead and move on with my day. And I want to thank you all so much for joining me here. We will see what comes next this week. It sounds like we're preparing this thing and what else we're going to do together at TLC for the soul. But until then, I will see you all again soon, somewhere in the astrals at TLC for the soul. Take care. This episode was brought to you by Flame, Rockaway Point's one and only hot yoga studio. You can do this, Rockaway Point. Get yourself in for a Flame yoga hot body session with Sandra McGee. She will push you to your very limits in the over 100-degree studio temperatures. You are sure to get your hot yoga freak flag on. Go ahead.